Welcome to the Critics Corner. I'm Andrew Branca with the Waxahachie Sun. I'm here with my colleague and fellow movie lover, Mr. David Dunn. How you doing today, David?
I am doing okay, Andy. I am sleep deprived. I am tired. I am ready for freaking Thanksgiving. How about you?
I'm definitely ready for Thanksgiving. Ready for a little turkey and family, and just I'm ready to be. I'm ready to have some time off. So I think it will be good and just well needed. So.
Yes, sir. Amen to that.
This week's film that we're looking at is another oldie, but it's kind of a goodie in a way. It's cheesy, but it's a little fun, but not too serious. You know, it's Kevin James's Paul Blart Mall Cop.
Yeah, it's like you said, Andy. It is. It's somewhat of an oldie. Surprisingly, older than 10 years. Released in 2009. I didn't know that at all. For some reason, I thought it was newer. Yeah, Kevin James stars as the titular character, Paul Blart, a hypoglycemic older man who has dreams to be a police officer, but due to his, poor health, his poor shape, and his just kind of oafish, clumsy nature, he's kind of stuck to just being the mall cop for his local, mall. Exactly. And he's this meek, unassuming guy. He's just this kind of clumsy, oafish character. But one day he gets kind of thrusted into the limelight when a heist goes down in the middle of his shift. And now Paul Blart has to suit up, man up, and take his mall back from these criminals. So, Andy, how is this the third Happy Madison production we're reviewing in a row? Like back.
I don't have a clue there, man. But
we started by reviewing Hubie Halloween,
horrible
which
movie.
Is one of the worst Happy Madison productions I've ever seen, period. Then we reviewed Reign Over Me, which is actually a better film. It's one of the better Happy Madison productions and one of the better Adam Sandler productions. This time, Adam Sandler still has his hand on the scale, but thankfully he's not starring in it. This time, Kevin James is front and center as this silly, ridiculous cop. And look, man, this is a simple movie. I feel like this is going to be a simple review. Whatever you think of, whatever your opinion is of just the title, Paul Blart Mall Cop, it's probably going to be your impression of this movie. Mm-hmm. I saw the trailer. I saw the title. I saw his, ridiculous performance, how silly and ridiculous and over the top and just, cliche it was. And I'm just like, that's going to be a really stupid movie. And then you watch the movie and you're like, yeah, that was a pretty stupid movie.
But it made me laugh in some parts, and it's definitely worth it. I mean, it's a, for what it is, it's a good movie. It's one of Kevin James's better comedy movies. I mean, if you watched him, in the sitcom King of Queens, it's kind of like his character Doug Heffernan left the package company he worked for and became a mall security guard that rides a Segway. That's essentially it. And, he's very comfortable in this role, and the jokes don't seem forced. I can't say that for the sequel, which is just watch the first movie. It's very good. It's very lighthearted entertainment. There's a cameo by another comedian, Adam Ferrara, at the end. I've seen him in person and stand-up. He's a very funny guy. But overall, I think the movie's, it is what it sets out to be. It's just kind of a little bit of slapstick comedy mixed with some situational humor.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head when you said, what was it you said? It is what it is, or it's funny for what it is?
Yeah, it's funny for what it is. It doesn't try to be more that it doesn't try to punch above its pay grade, you know.
I definitely agree with that. The movie is very basic. It's very straightforward. It's mostly predictable. There was one twist. I can't remember if I predicted it the first time I saw it, but this time I watched it and I was like, okay, this was, I could see this a mile away. But I do think you said something that is so true. You said this is one of Kevin James's better comedic performances, which even saying that in itself, in terms of film roles, to say that Paul Blart is one of your better performances, that's so sad. Like Adam Sandler at least has Uncut Gems and Reign Over Me. Kevin James has Paul Blart Mall Cop. That's so sad. But
Well, and he has that movie that he did with Will Smith about the guy that Hitch, which is very good.
right, yeah, Hitch and I now pronounce you Chuck and Larry. I think is one of his better comedic roles. But out of the other Happy Madison productions he's been in, whether it's Grown Ups or whether it is Zookeeper, Pixels, or Hubie Halloween, this is definitely one of his more comfortable roles. I feel like he's very comfortable in
Yeah.
this position, and maybe that's just because Kevin James is just naturally such a bubbly personality. Like he feels like a big teddy bear. You just kind of want to hug the guy and just, kind of squeeze onto him. And that's kind of his personality in this movie. Yeah, he's ridiculous and annoying and just all sorts of obnoxious, but he does have an endearing quality to him. He does have an adorable quality of him. You do sympathize with him, even if you don't like him that much.
Yeah, definitely. But if you've ever watched he's been, I would say, more successful on TV than in the movies. He's definitely, he's definitely a lot more, with his roles on television. King of Queens. I mean, that was a phenomenal show. I was a big fan of that, and that really got into me watching him and his stand-up. But apart from the movie, I have an odd connection with Mr. James, and I think I've told you about this before, but I'm going to say it anyways because we're talking about Paul Blart Mall Cop.
Yep.
I've been mistaken for Kevin James 3 times. Whenever I travel, and I like to travel, this is pre-COVID and all this, but
Right, pre-COVID.
hopefully when things get a little bit better, I'm gonna pick that up again. It's something I enjoy doing, and I'm gonna be doing that again. But anyways, the first time I traveled out of the country, I went to London, England, and that was right after this movie had came out in theaters, and I had gotten some tickets to go on a riverboat cruise of the Thames River. And it's one of those riverboats where you can ride up on the top deck and it's open and you can see everything. And they point out historical sites and stuff like that. This Chinese or Japanese man comes up to me. I'm trying to find a seat. He comes up to me, he kind of tugs my my arm, and I look around and there he is. This is a short little guy, and he says, "Oh, safety does not take holiday." I'm thinking, safety does not take. No. I'm flattered. I'm not him. You must take a picture now. What? You must take a picture. I'm like, oh no. And I tried to get him not to get a picture with him, but he was insistent. So him and 20 of his closest friends took a picture with me on a riverboat in London, England, and somewhere in Japan or China, there's a picture of me on his wall, thinking I'm Kevin James. And the next time I went to Italy, went to Rome, and again, I had booked a driver to pick me up at the airport. It was one of those shuttle rides. And the driver, his name was, I think it was named Mario or, Luigi or, Giuseppe. I don't know. But for the story's sake, let's call him Giuseppe. Well, Giuseppe looks at me and he says, "Oh, what's up, Blart?" I said, "No, I'm not. Oh, come on, you're him. He, wants my autograph, all that sort of thing." Again, I had to humor him, so I wrote out to Giuseppe from Kevin James, gave it to him, and then he says, "You don't ride in the back, you ride in the front." So he put me in the passenger seat next to him, and we're in Italy on the highway, and he's yelling at people on the road, and then he's listening to like 90s, really bad 90s like rock music. Like he's singing Play That Funky Music, White Boy, and he's singing it really loud, and he says, "Blart, join in with me." So we're singing it down the freeway and that sort of thing. And the third experience was 2 years ago in Chicago. Don't even leave the airport. Guy comes up to me in the terminal. I just was on my way to baggage claim. Guy comes up to me. He was next to his friends, and they're kind of pointing at me and looking at me and thinking, "Oh no, not again." He comes over and he says, "Mr. James, I just think you're so great and funny." And again, had to pose for another photo. Middle of the Chicago airport. I mean, I should be getting residuals from Kevin from that.
What you should be doing is you should be opening like your own autograph stand and see if you can just make money off of taking pictures with people, dude. I never get tired of that story. But what's funny is the last time you told me that story, I gotta be honest, initially I didn't see the resemblance like between you and Kevin James, kind of different people. And I was like, well, let me watch Paul Blart and see if I notice anything. Dude, literally got to the first scene. Literally the first sequence where you're seeing Paul Blart in the training sequence. Put this picture up next to yourself when you edit this. Tell me that does not look like you. That is a splitting image of Andy Branca.
Or look at the poster where he's looking very distinguished. He kind of looks like this.
Dude, it's
look at that poster from the movie where he's looking like this up into the sky, like.
Hey,
there's a it's noticeable.
Hey man, at least we know that if they ever make a Paul Blart 3, if Kevin James is tired of doing it,
I could be a stunt double, man. If he rides the Segway into danger, man, put me in, coach.
Oh man,
so Kevin James, if you're listening to this, call me. Let's have lunch, babe.
Yeah, for real. But yeah, no. In terms of Paul Blart the movie, it definitely has entertainment value. It's definitely not as annoying as other Happy Madison productions are. It's definitely not as obnoxious. It doesn't steal as much as your time. While as Hubie Halloween was an excruciating 2 hours, this one sits nice and comfortably compact at 1 hour and 30 minutes. So it doesn't take up too much of your time. I feel like this movie is kind of akin to ripping off a Band-Aid. It's unpleasant at first, but after you've taken it off, you have a few laughs you can remember throughout the movie once you're done taking it off.
Yeah. Personally, it's why I like to call a good popcorn movie. It's not an award winner, but it'll provide a lot of good laughs, a lot of good. It's a fun movie, and I think for myself overall, I give it a 7.5, 8.
Wow, very very high for you.
Yeah, it's just a fun movie, and if you take it for what it is and just strictly enjoy it, you're gonna have a good time.
Be honest, you gave it an 8 only because Paul Blart looks like you.
Well, maybe a little bit, yeah.
Egotistical, little shrill.
Whatever, dude.
I'm a little less kind to it. I'm gonna give it a solid 4, just because it is Happy Madison. It does have really ridiculous, really silly, really childish jokes. Kevin James makes it enjoyable to an extent, but you can only go so long before
I get that.
situations just annoys the living bejesus out of you.
I do. I get that.
Yeah, but it is enjoyable for what it is. I do agree with that.
I did think it was funny that he ran over a dog with a Segway.
Oh, yeah, I do remember that. Well, there's actually a few quite disgusting moments in this movie. I do remember the part.
That was kind of funny.
A little bit, but
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, I would say out of most of the Happy Madison productions, Paul Blart is one of the more tolerable ones. Doesn't mean it's good. Doesn't mean it's memorable. It just means you won't suffer as much through it.
Watch this one. Don't watch the sequel.
I don't even want to touch the sequel, dude. I haven't
it's
watched
not
it.
worth your time. It's not worth your time. Don't.
What I've heard.
Okay.
Cool. Wow,
so
that's
saying that. What?
And that's Paul Blart saying that.
Yeah. Yeah. His double. Yeah. That's gonna do it for this week's edition of the Critics Corner. If you have any questions, comments, suggestions, shoot us an email. We'll be glad to get back with you. And remember, safety does not take a holiday.
Safety does not take a holiday.
Bye, y'all.
See ya.